Hey guys, so I'm editing this video and post and I realized that I didn't exactly go in the direction I planned to go with this video. I liked how it turned out, so I'm not going to refilm it, but the original intent was for this to be more of a how to increase engagement on your Instagram posts and turn into more of a how do I edit my Instagram photos video. So I like the direction it came out, so I'm going to leave it, but I'm just putting this clarification in there before I just kind of post this video and there's a comment or something saying like, oh, this isn't relevant. So yeah, with that being said, enjoy. Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about maximizing your engagement on Instagram, including likes, followers, and comments. So Instagram has updated a new algorithm for its feed now. So instead of content appearing in chronological order from when it was posted, there's actually an algorithm now that determines what content will show up on whose feed. So today I wanted to just give you some tips and tricks on how to increase your engagement so that your content will be included more in the algorithm and will show up on more people's feeds so you can increase engagement. And I just want to put out a disclaimer. I am in no way I guess pro Instagrammer. Instagram for me is just kind of like a hobby, but I do keep a kind of private Instagram account that I just include my travel photography in. So today I'm just gonna show you the tips and tricks I've used from some of the things I've learned to help increase engagement on my private Instagram. So let's start. So first things first, with the chronological feed thing out the window, a lot of the old tips like posting on Sunday or posting at night are kind of out of the game now as far as increasing engagement on your Instagram post. So instead of posting your content at a more opportune viewing time, one of the best things you can do now to increase engagement is to just have better image composition. So some simple things you can do include including your face in the photograph. That increases engagement by 38%. Having a light versus a dark image increases engagement by 24%. Using hashtags increases engagement by 2%, and having a blue toned picture versus a red or yellow toned image actually increases engagement by 24%. So the first thing I want to talk about is hashtags. I feel like hashtags have kind of been seen as a taboo thing on Instagram. We've all seen that one person that posts millions of irrelevant hashtags in their photos, and it's just not appealing. There's nothing wrong with using hashtags. I wouldn't necessarily say go overboard with them, but you don't have to use them sparingly, but make sure the hashtags are definitely relevant. So using relevant hashtags is a great way of increasing the potential audience that can see your image and therefore the engagement you can garner on your images. So now I want to move on to more of the image composition part. There are tons of videos out there on how to take better photos and set up better composition of your images. I'm not going to necessarily go into that in this video. I could make a video in the future perhaps on image composition, setting up good images and taking good images, especially on an iPhone. But for this video, I just want to show you how you can take a raw image and take it to the next level with some editing apps. So first I'm going to show you how to utilize ViscoCam to really add some pizzazz to your photos and to get them more in line with some of the things I mentioned earlier that increase engagement. And before I get into that, actually, I want to show you a really cool tip that I picked up. So for people that take Instagram a little bit more seriously, one thing that they like to do is to have an Instagram theme, and I just wanted to show you something really cool that I learned from someone else on how to get a good Instagram feed. So what you want to do is you just want to go to Pinterest.com and you want to search Instagram feed, and it'll pop up with these things that will show you some preset filters and settings for ViscoCam so that your images kind of have a certain theme, and you can just use these settings for each of your photos. So you just want to scroll through the options that are there and you want to find a theme that you would like to have as your Instagram theme, and it'll show you the settings you need to use in ViscoCam to get your photos to look like that. So now I want to show you how I edit some of my photos in ViscoCam. So first things first, you want to open Visco. I'm going to show you the process. I'm going to show you the process right here that I go through of editing some of my photographs, and I'll show you how to utilize some of the tricks that I showed you earlier as well. So first things first, so my favorite filter on Instagram and the one I use for my theme is F2, and I just tone that down to 8. Then I go ahead and up the exposure 1, up the contrast by 2, up the saturation by 1, and as you can see, it just makes a much better image. The image itself in this case is actually a lot more of an appealing blue. Instead of having a violet undertone, it has more of a sky blue undertone or even a robin's egg blue. And that's what I really like about this filter, is that it really makes the blues more aesthetically appeasing. So another thing that I do that I keep consistent with my Instagram feed is I like to crop my images by a 4:3 ratio, because I take a lot of images on my GoPro. That's the automatic ratio that GoPro images come out as, is a 4.3. So I just crop them like that. So they're all the same size. So when people put your Instagram feed in scroll mode instead of grid mode, everything is the same size. There's nothing that stands out in particular and messes up the feed. It just adds a more cohesive Instagram aesthetic. Another thing you can do to increase engagement is to use location tags so that people that are looking up these locations can also see your images. With this, I would suggest using broad image location. Do not put your image down to the exact street number or whatever, because that is very creepy. But for example, I was recently in New York, and so I tagged a lot of the landmarks that were in the photos that I took. So that's all I have for you guys today. These are just some tips that I've been using on my amateur Instagram to increase engagement, and hopefully these tips will help you guys to create more visually appealing and engaging content. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram if you want. I'll put my @handle right here. Follow me on Snapchat. If you guys would actually like a video on how to create and compose better images in the future, be sure to comment it down below so I know. And with that, I'll see you guys later. Bye.